U.S. Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, the freedoms we swore to protect, written on this page, carried in our hearts.
Every line on this page matters. We don't back down, and we don't forget who we stand for. The bill goes forward, no matter the heat. Old Glory and the Florida flag stay high, and so do we.
Hey everybody, my name is Aaron, and this is Cripple Audits. Quick background, why is it called Cripple Audits? Because I'm missing a leg, I'm in a wheelchair, and fuck you if you don't like it. On other news, there's been a lot of stuff happening with Florida's open carry law that went into effect. And there's a lot of debate. There is a lot of confusion and stuff like that. So we're going to in this video, we're going to take a look at some of those things, ask the questions that I feel need to be asked, and hopefully somebody who may have an answer will respond. So let's get this video started.
We're left with a law that can be misinterpreted easily. So what I'm telling folks, to be safe, understand this. Go back to your concealed carry rules. Go back to your open carry rules about places you cannot carry a firearm. To your open carry rules about places you cannot carry a firearm.
Okay, so first thing I want to ask about that is what open carry rules is he referring to? And does he mean laws or does he mean rules? Because that's kind of confusing to me. Everywhere that I have looked in researching this, I have not found anything other than 790.053, which is the open carry law that was struck down with any open carry rules prior to today's date, which is 10/22/2025. So if anybody knows what open carry rules he's talking about, please feel free to let me know.
Yes, effective September 25th, you can carry an open firearm. But there are places that you still are restricted. And even the appellate court opinion says, yes, there are going to be restricted areas, such as courthouses, such as when governments are meeting. So I'm telling folks, as a blanket, just stay away from schools. That's clearly illegal with a firearm. Stay out of government buildings, federal, state, and local. Stay out of government buildings, federal, state, and local.
Stay out of government buildings.
Out of government buildings.
All right, so first of all, let me just say that this law in Florida does not mean shit if it contradicts the United States law, meaning that just because it's legal to open carry in Florida doesn't mean that you're not going to catch a federal charge for trying to open carry in the post office. So if you carry concealed or open and you go into a post office, you are running quite a big risk there, and it's not one that I personally would advise you to take. That's not the one I wanted. That's not the one I wanted. Son of a bitch, where'd it go? That's 810776. All right, here we go. All right, so this is chapter 790 of the God damn it, that's not it either. Where the hell did it go? All right, which one of y'all hid my damn statue? I'm gonna go ahead and blame all of you, if that's okay. I don't care if it is okay or not. Okay, so let's just back this up here. Shit. Okay, getting back to it. This is the statute that I was looking for. 790.06. It's under chapter 790 of the Florida statutes. and this is titled Weapons and Firearms. This particular statute is titled License to Carry Concealed Weapon or Concealed Firearms. Now, if you want to go through and you want to read this whole thing, go right ahead. Today, since this video is going to end up being longer than I originally intended, we are only going to be focused on this law on this part right here. Section 12, subsection A. And it starts out, a license issued under this section does not authorize any person to openly carry a handgun or carry a concealed weapon or concealed firearm into the following places. I think there's a total of 14 that are enumerated here. And it's like, when I'm looking at this, I see where it says a license issued under this section. Okay. So this is referring to when you had to have a license issued in order to carry a concealed firearm in Florida. And okay, so that just kind of, I don't know. It's like this is the only place in this statute that I see where they're talking about open carry, and it says does not authorize any person to openly carry a handgun or carry a concealed weapon or concealed firearm into these places. And it's like, okay, so that's saying that a license issued doesn't permit you to do that. But I don't see anything in the couple of weeks of research that I've done that show that these are specific to open carry as well. Because let's remember, prior to the ruling on September 10th, 2025 by the First District Court of Appeals, open carry under 790.053 was illegal. You were not allowed to do it. So it didn't matter if you had a license or not, you could not openly carry. Now, in Florida, years ago, they made a law to where, like, let's say you are in the grocery store and as you're reaching for something on the top shelf, your shirt comes up and your gun becomes briefly exposed in that. They made it to where the firearm being exposed for people to see inadvertently like that, they made it not a crime, which is pretty damn smart because when I first started carrying it, I was pretty fat and it may have occasionally been seen. Um, so it's like you go into these places here, and I think it's like what we got a total of uh looks like we've got a total of 15 places listed under the places that you could not carry with a license, concealed or open. And you can go through all these, but it's like, let's just kind of go through this part where, we need to identify government buildings, right? So Grady Judge said you cannot carry into government buildings. I'm not too sure about that. And, you know, when you look at this, you see number two, any police, sheriff, or highway patrol station. Me personally, I'm not going to try to carry somewhere that A, I am not allowed to carry, and I'm B, not going to carry something somewhere to where I am specifically outgunned and outmatched. Just not going to happen. Um, any detention facility, prison, or jail. Yes, that's a government facility. Any courthouse, typically a government facility. I don't know of any private courthouses. Any polling place, which means your local church sets up little booths for you to come fill out your voting card and select your votes. You cannot carry a gun into there. Number seven, any meeting of the governing body of a county commission, public school district, usually a school board in Florida, a municipality, which is like a city, or a special district. And special district, the only one I know of is at Disney. If you know of any other special districts, let me know. Number 8, you cannot carry it to any meeting of the legislature or a committee thereof, which means if you think you're going to walk into the Florida Capitol openly or concealed carrying a firearm, you are sorely mistaken. Any meeting of the legislature or, oh, I already said that. Okay, so any school, college, or professional athletic event not related to firearms. Well, it doesn't, this is all specifically for licensees of a concealed carry license. At least that's what I think. You know, but there are other laws in Florida, which I believe is 790.115, that make it illegal to possess firearms on schools, colleges, and related events. Elementary school, secondary school facilities, or administration building, which means you cannot go to like the school board of Polk County in Bartow, Florida, and concealed carry or openly carry there. It's a crime. Then it's like, portion of an establishment licensed to dispense alcoholic beverages for consumption. Okay, it's a bar. Any college or university facility, unless the licensee is a registered student, employee, or faculty member of such college or university, and the weapon is a stun gun or non-lethal weapon or device solely for defensive purposes, and the weapon does not fire a dart or projectile. Personally, I think that's stupid as shit. Somebody's coming at me with a knife, I would like to get them before they get to me to where I have to come in close contact in order to defend myself. I mean, it's like, that's just stupid. Can't carry it into a passenger terminal of an airport, which basically means that, when you go to the airport, you cannot go past TSA, where they're running you through metal detectors and that machine that looks at your bits, and walk through there. It's like I believe the places where, it's before you get to that are fair game. And I don't know. You have to do your own research and find an attorney, because I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm just talking about what I think and what I see. And, some of these things I might know. Big one. Any place where carrying of firearms is prohibited by federal law. Post office. I'm going to say that again. Post office. United States Post Office. Do not fucking carry a gun into the post office. And it's like, those are the places that 790.06, Section 12, Subsection A, which, again, I don't know why there's a Subsection A, because there's no Subsection B for 12. But these are places that a license issued under this section does not authorize you to openly carry a gun or carry a concealed gun or a concealed firearm into, or concealed weapon or firearm into any of these places. And you can go look at the statute so that you can read every word of it, since I didn't. And the link's going to be down at the bottom in the description of the video. I've never linked one there before, but we'll see. So, I'm kind of confused. I am kind of confused because, on one hand, we have, Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd saying that, you can't carry into a government building. And I'm like, wait a fucking minute. I don't think that's how the law works. I really don't. I don't think that because open carry is now legal, that all of these places that you could not carry with a license automatically extrapolate over to the open carry law. I don't get it. I don't see it. If somebody understands how that happens, let me know, because I thought that the Florida House, the Florida Senate, had to agree on a bill, and both sides had to pass it, and then they had to send it to the government the governor for signature. So, that's where there's a little confusion there. And it's like, you have Sheriff Simmons of Escambia County, which is up in the panhandle of Florida, and his September 23rd, 2025 statement said, upon further review of .0612A, which is what I'm talking about here. He says, we have determined that the statute primarily addresses concealed carry limitations for license holders. However, for open carry post McDaniels, this may not apply universally. Avoid testing until clarified to prevent issues. That's basically saying don't be the guy who is going to go into a government building open carrying a firearm and see what happens. Y'all let me do that. I'll let you know how it goes. And but turn around to his September 24th statement, and he seemed to backtrack and advise caution. Video said, or his statement was, open carry is legal now, but don't walk into a courthouse or bar thinking it's fine. Quoting 790.06 section 12, lists spots where carry is prohibited, but the language is license centric. He says we're not arresting for peaceful open carry outside of those. So on one hand, he's saying, I don't think that specifically applies to open carry. On the other hand, he's saying, but if you take it to a courthouse or bar, we are going to do something about it. Don't think you can do it. So again, that's something that's going to have to be clarified and codified by the Florida House, the Florida Senate, and signed into law by the governor. And until it is, I don't quite know how this is going to work in Florida. So we'll see. We'll see. Am I going to go out there and test some of this crap? I'm going to say chances are probably, but we'll see what happens.
Starting September 25th, anyone who is legally allowed to own a firearm will be able to openly carry in public.
38 states have open carry. It's not something that's controversial. The sky hasn't fallen in any of those.
And while open carry will soon be legal, there are still limits. You cannot take a gun into government buildings.
Government buildings.
So there it is again. You have a local reporter from WFLA Channel 8 in Tampa, Florida, who I believe is the Polk County correspondent, and she is parroting exactly what Sheriff Judge said. You cannot carry into government buildings. Okay, so let's talk about government buildings. If I go to the Florida the Polk County Tax Collector's office, that's a government building. Can I carry there? Can I open carry? Can I conceal carry? Somebody let me know what you think, because I personally think that I should be able to open carry there, because it is not A, listed as a place I can't carry concealed, and B, there is no place or statute listing those same things as places I can't carry open. But like I've said before, I'm not a lawyer. I may be wrong. I may be just talking out of my ass and whatever. But this is a subject that interests me. And let's finish.
Just about the change going into effect Thursday, Governor Ron DeSantis said he is for open carry.
When you say that the sky's going to fall if you have open carry, well, I can look at 40 plus other states that have it, and I haven't seen the sky fall.
Still, guns are not allowed in certain areas, including on school property or governmental buildings.
Governmental buildings.
Private businesses can also prohibit firearms.
Once it's clearly posted, if you go there with a firearm and they ask you to leave and you don't, you resist, you become angry, then you're armed trespassing.
Okay, so Florida's trespassing laws are under Chapter 810. And for trespassing, which most people don't know, that if you are currently trespassing somewhere and you commit another crime, like you punch somebody or you break something, well, that battery and that criminal mischief then takes that trespass and elevates it to a burglary, which is a third-degree felony. You know, so somebody asks you to leave, get the fuck out, plain and simple. But the whole thing I don't understand is the clearly posted part, because yes, there are businesses even now that have signs clearly posted, no firearms allowed. You know, quite a few banks have that now. I think they think that's going to keep the bank robbers out of there with guns, and they're going to show up with Swiss Army knives or something. I don't know. But as a private property owner, whether it's a business, whether you are renting it, you know, you have the right to tell somebody, hey, get the fuck out. Hey, leave. You can say, please leave. You can say, get the fuck out. Whatever you want to say, it doesn't really matter. Once you tell them to leave, even if they were there because they were invited, they knocked on your door, you opened the door, you allowed them to come in or asked them to come in. At any point, you can say, you know what? I'm tired of you being here. Get out. Gotta leave. Don't argue. Just get up and go. Not worth all the extra hassle, even if it is a misdemeanor trespass charge. You know, so it's like, I don't understand. Okay, so if there's a sign clearly posted, am I required to not go in? If I go in carrying a concealed firearm and they don't know it's there, am I still required not to go in? I didn't see anything in the statutes that said if somebody has a sign, you can't go in. And then, you know, even when they straighten that out and figure out what they're doing with it, let's say I go into a business and when I get to the door, I see no firearms allowed. And then me, being a guy who doesn't like to break rules or who doesn't like to get arrested, you know, I put my gun back in my car. I then go into their business to patronize it. And while I'm there, somebody comes in there and attacks me and I get injured. I get shot, stabbed, punched, kicked, whatever, any of those things. What are my remedies then? You know, that business made me disarmed to patronize them. And now I am injured because I didn't have a way to defend myself. So that's something that's going to have to be addressed. I know up in Tennessee, there's no specific law for how that is handled when you go to a place that has a sign that says no firearms allowed, because up there, you know, the signs have to be a certain size, certain letters, certain words, and they can prohibit firearms in their business. You know, and it's like, even though they are not directly responsible under law for your injury, I believe there's tort law, which I don't understand tort law. I might look at it one day, to where you can recover damages from that business. But I think it's just under like normal property owner stuff that you can file a claim on, sue them for, or what have you. You know, so those are questions that I have. My rule of thumb, if I'm somewhere, armed, unarmed, and they look at me and they say, we don't want you here, leave, please leave, get the fuck out, whatever they want to say, I'm getting the fuck out. I'm leaving. Okay, fine. See ya. Deuces. You know, and it's like, the other thing is like he said, and if you become angry, well, I didn't see anything in the trespassing statute that elevated the penalty because you got pissed off. I mean, somebody tells me to leave, I can sit there and look at them. You know, y'all are some stupid motherfuckers if y'all are scared of a tool. Do you run from shovels too that are laying on the ground doing nothing? You know, because I, like other people, have set my pistol down and said, okay, kill people. And my pistol's just laying there doing nothing because guess what? Nobody's pulling the trigger. You know, and it's just seems a little ridiculous to me. But I'm also going to link chapter 810 in the description below, so that way, if you want to, you can look up Florida trespassing and burglary statutes.
Now, Sheriff Judd is also calling on legislators to better define state laws when it comes to guns, in guidance from
See, now that thing right there where he's calling on state legislatures to, whatever she just said, shit, I'm gonna back it up because damn it, that annoys me.
Now, Sheriff Judd is also calling on legislators to better define.
Okay, to better define these laws. Okay, what is he advocating for there? Is he advocating for the same reasonable restrictions that concealed carry holders had prior to, well, even now, since you don't have to have a concealed carry license to conceal carry in Florida, that statute 790.13 or 013, one of the two, it specifically says that 790.06 section 12 subsection A still applies to people open or concealed carrying without a license. But as far as I can see and as far as I can tell, is it in no way, shape, or form under the statutes automatically applies to open carry. So if somebody can get Sheriff Judd, Sheriff Simmons, or even Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer to comment on this, I would love to have a conversation about it. I am curious. And I think as a citizen, where these laws affect me directly, I have a right to know. And, it does need to be clarified and codified, because they can clarify all they want. If it's not codified, they're kind of blowing smoke. And I quit smoking about, holy crap, 2 years ago. Yay me. And it's like one of the other things is that not only do you need to know things like Chapter 810, the Florida statutes that refers to burglary and trespass, or, I don't even think you need to know 790.06. Oh, yeah, you do, because it still applies under the new open carry without a permit law. So you still need to know 790.06, paragraph 12, subparagraph A. That's important to know. And there are some places that are listed in there that also, in addition to that, they do have separate laws for, not being able to carry there, like schools. That's a separate statute. I think it's 790.115. That basically makes it illegal to have a gun on school property. And it's like, my personal feeling on gun-free zones, no guns on school property, all that crap. It's just like this, in my opinion. A bad guy with a gun is going to go where they want, when they want, to do what they want. And if they walk onto a school and they decide they want to go start shooting fish in a barrel because nobody's going to be shooting back, which is why schools keep getting targeted, because nobody there can shoot back. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. A law-abiding citizen is not going to walk into a school and start doing shit like that. The people that do that are people that need to be stopped immediately. And restricting law-abiding citizens from carrying a firearm in those situations is basically taking away another form of defense. And speaking of that defense, self-defense, let's take a brief look at, I think it's right here. Yes. Florida Statutes, Chapter 776, Justifiable Use of Force, okay? This chapter right here, whether you carry a gun, don't carry a gun, whether you are likely to intervene if somebody else is being attacked, or you want to know what to do if you're being attacked, this is the statute that you need to know. This lets you know what you can do when it comes to self-defense. And some of these laws are quite liberal in giving you self-defense. And you need to know them. If you're going to be out and about carrying or not carrying, you need to know where the lines are, what to do when somebody crosses one of those lines, and attacks you, your family, or just a bystander. And, you also need to know how far you can defend property, because you can't just straight up, oh no, there's somebody taking a flower pot, pop, shoot 'em. Can't do it. Um, and there's other things you need to know, like forcible felony. You'll see that in there. That's something you need to know. You need to know what a forcible felony is, or what crimes forcible felonies are. And, it's extremely, extremely important.
State laws when it comes to guns. In guidance from Florida's Attorney General, he writes law enforcement can continue to police those who exhibit firearms in a, quote, rude, careless, angry, or threatening manner in public.
So, yeah, I mean, it's like, bottom line, if you're going to be out there and you have a gun, don't be a dick. Don't think it makes you like this supreme badass. That, ooh, I've got a gun, I don't have to put up with shit. Well, you know what? I think when you have a gun, you need to be more humble about putting up with shit. Because you don't want to escalate to a point that's going to endanger other people. And I can tell you, like, anybody who is in law enforcement will straight up let you know that the last thing they want to have to do is shoot somebody. They don't want to do it. They would rather, things come to a peaceful solution and you go your ass to jail. And the other thing is that, I don't quite know if what Grady Judd was saying in this video constitutes legal advice. It's not for me to decide. That's for other people to decide. But from what I've read, if it is, even though it's a misdemeanor, they're probably just going to say, hey, bad boy, don't do that. And it'll be over. So why even waste the resources? So anyway, I'm going to write an article that gets a little more into depth about some things, and I'm going to post it on X. You can follow me at Cripple Audits. You can find me on YouTube at Cripple Audits 863, which is where I'm from. Polk County, Florida is the 863 area code. And I'm also on Rumble. I just don't know how to find me on there yet. And, I hope this posed enough questions that somebody's going to answer, because somebody needs to.
I am not an attorney.
No shit! Yeah, I made that just because I thought it was funny and I just got access to Sora. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching my video. Please like, subscribe, or leave a comment. Let me know if you didn't like it, or you thought it was stupid, or things I could do better, or if I should just go ahead and keep the camera off and not record anymore. I don't care. Let me know what your feedback is. Anyway, thank you guys. Have a great day. Gonna be working on the next video soon. Bye.